Idioms are a must use if you want to achieve a band 9 in the speaking test, as it is mentioned there. And in this video, I'm going to teach you 15 idioms which you can use during part 1, 2, and 3. Not only will I teach you them, but I'll tell you specifically where you should use which idiom. But before you start learning idioms, keep one thing in mind, that you shouldn't overuse them. At the maximum, you should use 1 or 2 idioms during your whole speaking test. And that's why, because idioms, if you use them too much, they sound unnatural, and the examiner will reduce your score instead of increasing it. So let's start with the first idiom, which is thrilled to bits. It has the same meaning as extremely happy. Instead of thrilled to bits, you can use over the moon, but thrilled to bits is a little more advanced. As for examples, the fans were thrilled to bits when they heard that their team had won. I was thrilled to bits when I received a scholarship letter from my dream university. And you can use this idiom in speaking part 2 when there's asked an emotion like how you felt. In the end, usually in the 4th bullet point, an emotion is asked, how you felt, just like in this example. Look at the part 2 question. Describe a vacation you had in a faraway place. You should say when and where you went, who you went with, what you did there, and explain why you think it was enjoyable. Now look at the 4th bullet point, why it was enjoyable. An emotion is asked. So you can say, I was thrilled to bits because of whatever reason. Here in every part 2, nearly every part 2, an emotion is asked, and you can use this idiom. The next idiom is down in the dumps. Instead of it, you can also use in the blues. Both have the same meaning, that is very sad. And let's consider some examples. Sarah was down in the dumps when she lost her precious job. The businessman was down in the dumps when his business collapsed. This idiom can also be used just like the previous one in emotions in part 2. The third idiom is hit the roof. It means that you become extremely angry. And as talking about examples, after the unfair decision from the judge, he hit the room and left the court. He hit the room when he found out that his phone had broken. This idiom is also an emotional one. It's about anger and temper. So you can also use it in the part 2 speaking whenever an emotion is asked. The 4th idiom is a piece of cake. It means very easy. You found some task very easy to do. For instance, the math problem turned out to be a piece of cake after I had understood the whole concept. Preparing for the exam turned out to be a piece of cake as I had studied rigorously. Here you can use it in part 1 usually when you're asked personal questions. Remember that part 1 speaking is all about personal questions and you need to give short answers there. For example, you're asked, what do you study? And you can say, I study medicine, and to be honest, it's a piece of cake, and then explain it a little further. Here you use the idiom a piece of cake. The 5th idiom is pricey as a gold watch, which means extremely expensive. When something is extremely expensive, you use this idiom. Instead of it, you can also use cost an arm and a leg, but this idiom isn't that much advanced, so I would advise you to use the previous one. The handbag that she had an eye on was as pricey as a gold watch, so she decided not to buy it. The laptop at my house is as pricey as a gold watch. You can use it whenever finance and economic topics are discussed during part 3. The 6th idiom is throw in the towel. It means that you give up on something or quit something. For instance, after numerous failed attempts to clear the last level of the game, he decided to throw in the towel. On facing several setbacks on his new career path, he decided to throw in the towel and adopt a new profession. The seventh idiom is in my book. It means that you express an opinion. In my opinion. His trait of helping others is a commendable one, and that's why he is a hero in my book. Quality is a top priority in my book, and there should be no compromise over it. This idiom can be used to express opinions, especially in the part 3. Sometimes you might be asked an opinion like why people move to a new house. You can say in my book and then start explaining it. The eighth idiom is once in a leap year. It means very rare and has the same meaning as the idiom once in a blue moon. We gather for a family reunion once in a leap year. Receiving a handwritten letter is very rare nowadays, like once in a leap year. The ninth idiom is paint the town red. It means that you go out somewhere, especially in the city, and have an enjoyable time. After our exams ended, we painted the town red with our friends. Today is my birthday party, so I'm gonna paint the town red with my colleagues. This is an extremely useful idiom when you're talking about friends, and it can be used in part 1. Like the examiner might ask, do you often go out with your friends? And you can say, yes, I do. I paint the town red with my friends, and then just give the location names where you go. Explain it a little. The 10th idiom is in a nutshell. It has the exact same meaning as to conclude and summarize something. So it's usually used after you discuss a whole topic and then you want to write a concluding sentence. For instance, in a nutshell, the team's overall success depended upon their collaboration. In a nutshell, the speaker told us about the problems that our education system faces. And I would advise you to use it everywhere, like you can use it during part 1, 2, and 3 to give a concluding sentence in the end. For example, let's take in part 3 you were asked, do you prefer small shops or supermarkets? Then you explain your side and you say, in a nutshell, supermarkets are superior to small shops, or small shops are superior to supermarkets. That depends on your view. The 11th idiom is out of the question. Now here students make a basic mistake, that is they write out of question, not out of the question. And the right idiom is out of the question, so make sure to use it like this. It means that something that is impossible to do or can't be done. For instance, borrowing the company's car for personal use is out of question because it isn't included in the policies. Going to a party is out of question as I have a hectic work schedule. The 12th idiom is bite one's nails. Now it's also an emotion, that is you are being nervous or anxious for some reason. So it can be also used during part 2 whenever an emotion is asked, usually in the 4th bullet point. For instance, before receiving his medical bills, he sat in the doctor's office biting his nails. As the job interview approached, she couldn't help but biting her nails. It means that they're anxious, they're nervous for some reason. Idiom number 13 is crying over spilled milk. Now it's one of the most common used idioms in the speaking test. It means that something that has been done in the past and it can't be changed. For instance, after realizing that she couldn't change the past, instead of crying over spilled milk, she focused on finding a solution to improve the future. The project didn't go as planned, but it's no use crying over spilled milk. The 14th idiom is part and parcel. It means something important, usually of life. For instance, in marriages, disagreements are a part and parcel of understanding and growing with each other. The challenges that a person faces are a part and parcel of life. Now, this idiom can be used anywhere during part 1 speaking, in which personal questions are asked. Like, you consider this example: do you like books? Yes, I love reading books, especially the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. In fact, I've read it multiple times and I believe that it has become a part and parcel of my life. Let's take another example. What is your favorite food? My favorite food is chicken rice and I love it because it's very spicy. I have it once or twice a week and it's a part and parcel of my life. Look, in these two answers, I've used the idiom part and parcel. Idiom number 15 is up to ears in work. Now, it means that you're extremely busy in something, usually in work, and you can use it this way: I can't attend the party because I'm up to ears in my work. Even during the holiday season, she couldn't attend the festival because she was up to ears in her work. And it also can be used during part 1, part 2, and part 3. Just make sure to use these idioms accurately. And if you're watching till now, thank you very much for watching. Give it a thumbs up, share it with those who need it, subscribe and press the bell icon so that you get notified of every video that I upload on this channel. Take care.